What's up, guys? Welcome to Selfie Cam. It's time for tennis. So I just did a review of that EZONE 98 Plus, and I told you why I'm selling it. Let me tell you why I'm selling these rackets. So you're going to get a little bit of a bonus here. This is a 2-for-1 deal. These are both pure drives. This is a 2015 Tour Plus, but I've extended it with an XTP Buttcap, so that means it's 28 inches. This is a 28-inch pure drive. 2015 Pure Drive Tour Plus. I call it, like, I don't know, XXL or something. Makes it sound like a porn magazine when I call it that, XXL. Is that just weird? Anyway, I'm selling this racket because a lot of the same reasons I'm selling my EZONE 98. It's a little bit too powerful. It's super stiff, but I think more so than that, it's really just the string pattern isn't my deal. I mean, this is really open for a 16 by 19. It's a super open string pattern, no surprises. You know, this is the pure drive. You kind of know what you're getting yourself into when you get one of these. It's kind of a cool racket in the sense that it's super point and shoot, and it's very powerful and stiff, and it's kind of predictable because it's stiff. But did I mention that it's stiff? I don't really have an issue with that per se. I don't have arm issues from it, but I don't know. It just doesn't feel great, and it kind of feels like a gimmicky racket a little bit. Not to say that you can't play great tennis with this racket, because you can. Obviously, there's a lot of really high level and professional players that use this racket or actually use this racket, not some weird pro stock that's nothing like the retail one. But you know, this racket has obvious strengths, and I think it also has obvious weaknesses, but it's one of those rackets where I think the strengths that it has kind of really wants you to play a certain way, and that's baseline topspin for the most part. But the funny thing is that guy, who is it? What is his name? Dustin Brown, right? The dude with the super long hair. He had amazing touch, and he was playing with a Babolat pure drive. And I'm not really sure what the actual specs of that racket were, but you know, you can say what you want about this racket and the kind of racket that it is, but also, like, that dude had amazing touch. So obviously it really comes down to the player, but that's just how I feel about this racket. And the reason that I got it is actually because I got a really good deal on it, but I love this paint job. Honestly, this is one of my favorite racket paint jobs of all time. I don't know what it is, but it kind of hits my eye like some beautiful, like, Formula One race car. I just love the matte blue and sort of steel gunmetal black, gray, and metallic blue. I think it's such a beautiful paint job. I just had to buy one, honestly. I just had to buy one so I could hold it and look at it for a little while, because I remember back in the day when this racket was new, I'd see it out there and I'm like, man, it's a pretty racket, but it's not my kind of racket, so I'm not going to get it. But I loved how it looked, so that's why I got it. And I figured, you know, it's an extended length racket. I can see what I think. I talked in my other videos about how limited the extended length racket market is, so you start to make some compromises when you just don't have many options, right? Beggars can't be choosers, as they say. So I tried one. It was cheaper because it's a little bit older, and I figured I can always just sell it if I don't like it, and that's what I'm doing now. But when I had it and it was sitting around for a little while, I was like, you know, what if I extended my extended length racket? And so, yeah, that's what I did. I put the XTP Buttcap on here, and this is a 28-inch Babolat, and I'm really glad that I did that, because it actually allowed me to get used to the length and understand if my tennis can actually handle a 28-inch racket. And hitting with this racket proved to me that, yeah, I'm fine with 28 inches. I can handle it. I hit with some of my best tennis partners, and I was just fine. So it made me excited to think that I can actually handle a 28-inch racket, and so I kind of went back into the market with a new enthusiasm, accepting basically that I'm going to have to modify whatever racket I get. So I have to kind of look for rackets that can, you know, that have a low enough weight or low enough swing weight to start with, that can actually be made this long and still be something I can manage for my tennis. So that's why I'm selling this one. I kind of got what I needed from it, and now it's, you know, we've had our time. And the other racket that I have here is the newer pure drive. I just wanted to compare the two. I thought this was also a pretty nice looking racket, although I think the older one is a more interesting and just nicer paint job. This just isn't as interesting. It looks cool, but when you kind of compare it to this one, I just think this is so much more interesting. You know, it's hard to say which racket actually looks more modern. I don't think this racket really looks dated. I think the generations before this one, those rackets look super old. The Aero Pro, when they called it the Aero Pro, it just looked older, like a lot of yellow and white. But they've given the rackets a lot of black now, and it kind of, I don't know, maybe it just makes it look a little more timeless or something. But this paint job is so cool. I don't know, do you agree? And I also think this little Cortex sleeve, it just makes this racket look so special and different, like it has something that the other rackets don't. And as a decorative effect, I really like it. Did you guys just hear my stomach growl? I need to eat. And yeah, my reasons for getting this were kind of the same. It's the newer version. I wanted to see if I like it better than this one. And maybe I kind of did, but it wasn't in a profoundly meaningful way or anything like that. It was just, again, kind of another racket I got because it was the only other extended, my stomach. It was the only other extended length racket that was really out there. So I got one. I didn't extend it. I liked it. You know, I basically have all the same things to say. I think this one was a little bit more comfortable, and people say it's a little bit more control oriented. I think I remember this racket also feeling a little bit more solid than this racket. Like, there's just something a little bit more hollow feeling about this one as opposed to this one. So yeah, that's mostly what I have to say about these two rackets. I'm selling them because they don't quite play to the strengths and whatever that I like to play with or play to, and they're very stiff and they're not a super dynamic racket in my opinion, but I wanted to try them. I just had to make a quick stop at the Babolat train and see what it's all about and see if I can extend them, and my stomach keeps growling, so I'm probably going to end the video. That's a video on why I'm selling both of my pure drives. So thanks for watching. I will see you guys in the next one. And I'll introduce you guys to the rackets that I'm sticking with now. And maybe I'll talk about the ones I'm curious about. If you guys want to hear more about my racket journey, like and subscribe, and I will be talking about that a little bit more in the future video as well as other stuff, because I try strings, I try shoes, and every now and then I get into the nitty-gritty about certain racket-related or tennis-related stuff that kind of goes against the grain a little bit, because why would I go out of my way to tell you stuff that everyone else is already saying? That is a complete waste of your time and my time as well. So I think my value is in saying stuff that goes against the grain a little bit, not just to be controversial or something, but if I legitimately have an opinion that seems to go against what a lot of other people believe, I'll probably share it if I really believe it and, you know, think it has some value. A lot of the marketing or beliefs about certain things are just super oversimplified. So I think it's important to actually differentiate when those things are true and when they aren't true. So I'll talk about that. I'll do videos sometime on extended length versus standard length. I'll do videos on thicker gauge versus thinner gauge, and I'll do a video on 16 by 19 versus 18 by 20, or just dense versus open string patterns. I'll do some stuff about that. And I'll talk about racket flex too, because that's another one that's just kind of lamely misunderstood. And I think that's about it. When it comes to the controversial stuff, I have stuff to say about. Yeah, there's probably more. I'm a rebel. Not really, but you know, thought I'd say that for fun. Wow, my voice is getting raspy. It's late. I got that smooth jazz voice. You're tuning into 97.3 Smooth Jazz Cat. It's time for tennis. I'm out. I'm getting silly. See you in the next one.